Okay, so here's the spring problem. So again, I've drawn my picture. They say that at 0.3 seconds, we have our first high point at 60 meters. And then at 1.9 seconds, we have our first low point at 40 meters. Okay, so again, your period is not 1.9. That's the big misconception here. If I'm going from a maximum to a minimum, that is only half of my period. The full period would be from maximum to maximum. So if you want to use that information to figure out your period, you need to find the distance here. So the distance between these two, 1.9 minus 0.3, gives me 1.6. And you need to double that to make your period. So if I double that, I get 3.2. So my period is 3.2, okay? So then I went ahead and I took that and divided it by 4 to figure out my intervals, okay, which becomes 0.8. And I use that to go backwards and get my other numbers here. So 0.8 in between here, 0.8 in between here, and so on, okay? Again, do you see that this is not 0.8? So do you see I didn't even finish my graph? I don't need to. I can use all this information to help me finish my graph or to help me get my answer. But I cannot use 0 as a point here because this is not 0.8 away, which means it's not hitting this right here at the 0 as an intercept or a maximum or minimum. Okay, so let's go ahead and find our midline. If I have a 40 and a 60 here, okay, then my midline is going to be at 50 meters. So if my midline is at 50, that's a distance of 10 from the midline to the maximums and minimums. Okay, I'll find my B in a second. We know we'll get to pick our C. And then my midline we found out here was 50. So that's my B. Okay, so in order to find B, we need to do 2 pi over B equals that period I found out earlier. So this will be 3.2b is equal to 2 pi. Get your b by itself by dividing by 3.2. Okay, again you have to move that decimal. If I have to move this one once, so up top I'm going to have 20 and moving that one once as well, over 32. Then I'm going to go ahead and reduce here. 4 goes into both of them, so this becomes 5 pi over 8. So my B is 5 pi over 8, okay? So to do my cosine, I'm going to go ahead and use the very first maximum that they gave me, which is at 0.3. That is a maximum, so it'll be positive cosine. Y equals cosine, oh, don't forget my 10 here. 10 cosine of 5 pi over 8 x minus the 0.3, and then plus my d, which in this case is 50. So that's my cosine equation. In order to find my sine equation, I'm going to use this intercept right here, which is 1.1. So that intercept right there, the next point is a minimum, so I know it's going to be negative sine, negative 10 sine 5 pi over 8 x minus 1.1 plus my 50. Okay, and then the question asks us to find out for 17.2 seconds. So that means you're gonna have to plug in 17.2 for your x's. Please remember that you are in radians, so your calculator needs to stay in radians in order to get the correct answer. And when you do that, the answer becomes 48.05 meters. Again, you can plug it into both to make sure you got the right answer. If you feel pretty confident, you can feel pretty confident if you get the same answer both times. Okay?